Hey everybody, welcome to the Market Minute. We got 6 cards to look at. It is currently world premiere weekend for the Hunted, and the Hunted is affecting 5 out of the 6 of these cards. There is one that is a little bit of an outlier on that front, but as we get into this Hunted season, some of these cards are moving quickly. And we're going to start off with a couple cards that I looked at after the world's announcement for the Hunted, kind of check back in with them. I think they're still very interesting cards. They still are supporting taking a look at because they are moving quickly. And let's jump into it. First one is That All You Got from Uprising, Defense Reaction, currently sitting at $17.50. 32 non-foils, 14 rainbow foils. Those rainbow foils are sitting at $20, so not a large gap there. We did look at this one back on the episode that came out on 11/23, and it was sitting at $8 for the non-foil, $13 for the rainbow foil, with 50 inventory for the non-foil, 32 for the rainbow foil. So this one's seen the inventory be reduced down, and that price going up. It makes a lot of sense, as we go into a meta where there's possibly a lot of small attacks. This card is very strong when you can guarantee that your opponent's going to be attacking you with a base 2 attack, right? And looking at the 3-month snapshot, sitting, lows around $4, highs around $17.99. So we're sitting right at that high watermark for this card. And I would expect this card to stay relevant, especially as we are early into the meta. And, people are just making sure that they have these cards for their RTNs, for their Pro Quest. Maybe it doesn't get played as much. Depends on where the Hunted heroes end up. But if it does get played and it is in decks, you will definitely see this card keep this price and possibly go up. And the second card that we looked at a little while back in November is Erase Face from Uprising. This one sitting at $16.86 for the non-foil, $24 for the rainbow foil. Currently 54 non-foils on TCG Player, 12 rainbow foils. That's pretty thin. We did look at this one in November as well because it does attack Draconic quite well, right? If you don't have Draconic, a lot of cards say that you need Draconic attacks, you need Draconic cards. So this one, makes sense, right? Average daily sold is at 6, so this one's still moving pretty well. Looking at the low sale price, 3-month snapshot, right around $9 for the low, $20 for the high. So, we're sitting close to that high water mark on this one. With 54 non-foils, it's still got a decent amount of stock. Looking back at the old episode, we were sitting at 53 non-foils at that time. So inventory is really not moving on this one. It seems like there's a bunch of backfill. Makes sense, right? I think if you're buying cards, a 6 power attack with good text on it as a card that you hang on to, that you maybe buy a couple extra when you see it down under $10. So, the backfill is pretty steady on this guy. But interesting enough, you could see this card be a mainstay in the upcoming meta with Draconic heroes running around. The next card is Valiant Dynamos. This is a legendary from Monarch, currently sitting at 138. 15 rainbow foils, 21 cold foils, sitting at 159.99 currently. It was, during the heavy hitters meta, it was very high. It's kind of fallen off as that meta dwindled out and we went into Misfail. But it definitely could be back, especially with how many daggers Fang likes to throw. Also, Kasai getting support, Dory getting support. Maybe Hatchet Dory comes back since that is a very solid deck. 3-month snapshot has this one at the low. Again, like I said, this one kind of fell off, but it's coming back now. $70 for the low, $120 for the high. So we haven't had any sell at the 138 just yet. But we'll see where that falls in. Maybe there's some backfill, brings that back towards that 120 range. But I think this is a very solid life piece for multiple warriors and worth keeping an eye on. You can see it from that graph right there, just keep going up. All right, the next card here is another warrior card, Oath of Steel from Everfest, currently sitting at $9.95, 222 non-foils on TCG Player, 128 rainbow foils, $17.89 for them rainbow foils. This one just, you can see from the graph a couple days ago when all the cards got dropped for the hunted, 68 of them sold at one time, basically. Maybe, it just, once we knew that you could attack multiple times with Fang, with the same dagger, get those +1/+1s, stack them up, right? I think that's where this card really saw that huge jump, right? Low sale price, 19 cents. High sale price, $12.50. So yeah, it just, this one just jumped, right? Maybe be careful with this one. That is a lot of stock on TCG Player. It's like a quick, so those backfilled in once this price jumped quite enough. I've said it before, always keep an eye on Everfest cards. They're very strong generally, the Majestics out of that set. And we're just so far away from Everfest's drop, right? And so much of it's been opened. And we know, it was only that first edition run, which was a big run, print run. But, it just, as time marches on, right, these cards will dwindle down. All right. This one is our outlier, Teclo Pounder from Everfest. Currently $4.50, 55 non-foils, 14 rainbow foils. That is pretty thin, actually. Sitting at $5.72. So not a huge gap between the non-foil and the rainbow foil. 14, that's quite low. Just a couple play sets there. 3-month snapshot on this guy, $2.10 is the low, $6.99 is the high. So we're sitting right in the middle there. So I think, if you look at that graph, right, we saw the Toronto Battle Hardened, we saw this card being played on stream and to good effect, right? I think Mechanologist is always just kind of looming out there. And if we're going into an aggro meta, Teclo Pounder is very much part of that aggro plan for Mechanologist heroes, right? And it's just a solid card overall, and you're going to be wanting to play him for sure. I just think this one's kind of interesting, at $4.50. It's just a good value right now. Again, another one of those Everfest Majestics, very strong, and it was released a long time ago. So keep an eye on it. All right, and the last card, of course, we got to talk about Command and Conquer. We're talking about the one from Arcane Rising, currently sitting at 104. 25 non-foils on TCG Player right now, 26 rainbow foils sitting at $219 as well. If we look at the 3-month snapshot, low sale price is $80, high sale price is $120.68. So, running through those numbers, you can see why it got reprinted in the hunted. It is one of the most popular cards in Flesh and Blood. It's almost, ubiquitous 3-ofs needed if you're playing this game at any kind of competitive level. And then looking at I haven't really ever looked into this card super closely, just because, it is what it is, right? It doesn't move around too much. As you can see, it doesn't go below 80. Sometimes jumps up over 100 depending on the season. But with only 25 on TCG Player, that's quite low for a card in this much demand. So this is getting some much needed backup from the reprint at legendary level in the hunted. Quickly, I would say expect the rainbow foil price on the unlimited to fall down a little bit, since the new rainbow foil is an EA variant, and it's very beautiful. And if you're going to go out for the bling, you're going to go out for those. And those are going to catch a hefty price, right? So you kind of has to fall in somewhere, and that old version is going to fall down a little bit. But yeah, overall, I just kind of wanted to selfishly look at this one. So maybe in a couple months, like we did with the first cards, we can go back and take a look at, the day Command and Conquer was announced and reprinted in the hunted, and kind of see where it shakes out. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.